right.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Behind the Screen. We have a special episode for you guys tonight featuring just DMs of Crypt and Cryptids, minus Nimue. We will get her on the next one. But today, I will be your lovely host as Nerdy Teacher. But we also have the charming asshole of my husband, Zach. We have the annoying yet lovable Cap. We have the gorgeous bay creature that is Meg. And we also have the elusive, endearing, and enigmatic world's okayest DM, Dustin, making an appearance for the first time in weeks. We've missed you.
In like 2 months.
Yes, we've missed
It's been since mid-July, yep.
Oh,
Miss
Jesus.
you.
He lives, everyone.
okay.
He's alive.
I am alive.
We're
He's
glad
a
you're taking care of you. But we
he's a
missed you.
D&D bear. He had to hibernate. And that's okay.
You know what?
It,
I'll take that.
it was
The way I
it
was going to ask about a bear's poop plug, and I don't actually want to get into it.
Nah.
We've got hype going in the chat for Tanis.
Woo.
hell yeah. And that's not the only way he's a bear. Anyway,
What? No.
What?
Not going there.
Only
All
on
right.
Thursdays.
So, as always, we are here to talk about the game we love and what it's like being a dungeon master and answer any questions that you guys may have for us. So we have a QR code in this on the screen right now, and we also have a link going through chat where you can send us your questions. Honestly, I kind of expect this session to go very much off the rails because it is us and we tend to go off the rails.
rails?
We had a very interesting conversation not 10 minutes ago that we were discussing what a Gen Z slang term meant, and we felt really old. So, yeah. But
Yeah.
there it is. There's the link in chat. Please go in and leave some questions for us, D&D related or not. Throw us a curveball. We'll see.
Tell us about some Gen Z lingo that doesn't make sense to you either.
Yeah.
Or explain it. Or explain it.
Explaining it would be great.
I would love
Here's a game. Here's a game. Tell us some crazy Gen Z lingo, and we'll come up with what we think it should mean.
Has a single DM episode ever had rails?
I mean, we don't railroad, you know.
It has
I
one
have a
rail. It
I have a
has
rails.
question along those lines. Okay,
Mhm.
so DM friends, when you are DMing like a one shot or like a short story, like a short campaign, where you know we have like limited time and we have to get somewhere, how do you view things like railroads, and or how do we steer the conversation towards getting to a goal and making things feel satisfying for people? How do you guys approach that? Or do you?
I mean,
I have
do
never
that a lot.
railroaded anybody.
When I have to keep like a one shot down to like an hour or two, I have to do that a lot, which as long as the story stays fun and engaging, people don't seem to mind. So the way I do it, okay, so you guys go along and you find this, and you're looking for camp tonight. So one of you I'll tell, rather than saying, hey, do you guys want to search for a camp tonight? I'll just be like, no, you guys search for camp tonight, and so yeah, that's a bit railroady, but when there's time constraints, you kind of just gotta. So also,
agree.
hi J-Lo.
Hi, JLo. Yes. I agree. There's some things where you just hit the fast forward button. It's.
That's a better way to put it. I just hit fast forward.
I mean, I don't want to say we skip over the unimportant roles, but looking for a camp when you know that you're eventually going to find a camp or something. Traveling, you can say, okay, you walk for a full day and nothing happens. You can skip over some of the more filler of it to get to the meat of the session, but that's about as railroady as I will get. Although,
And
okay, how
I
railroady?
don't feel like simplifying things necessarily means railroading, though.
That's fair. How railroady is this? Because some people have told me it's railroady. Some people have said, no, that's just normal. If you plan the entire route, if they go left, you know the city, you know the NPCs, you know everything, all the hooks that are going to happen there, and your players go right, how is it railroady if suddenly, well, everything that was on the left is now over there?
Quantum ogre.
I don't. Okay, my personal opinion is no. And I'm more inclined to go in a similar vein to that route. If we have limited time, especially. Like if we have a long old time, you know, I'll let it be what it is. But if we have limited time, yeah, all that shit's just to the right now. 100%. Your decision of to go left or right does not functionally matter if you're at a crossroads in a traveling section to get to the important part of a story. If that's not the important thing. But now, if I were to say I have all of this planned, if they infiltrate a castle coming in from the front and they decide to go in from the back, they get the advantage of that. They get the advantage of so if it's important, like really important that their decision is trying to benefit them, cool. You get the benefit of making the other decision. But if it's like you come to a fork in the road, one goes left to a town, the other goes right to a town a little further away, fucking everything I had planned for the left is now on the right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find that railroady at all. That
I feel like that's
that's
just
that's
what
just
you've already.
effective.
That's just what you gotta do.
That's just the Copenhagen interpret. It's Schrodinger's plot. They didn't know what was where, and the world just rearranged itself a little bit for DM sanity.
And they'll never know unless you say something.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, when they go to the other town, you can't literally be like, "Oh, the thing that just happened there also is happening here." Like,
yeah. But the other thing is like one of the big notes they always told us as a live performer is do not tell people when you fuck up. And that doesn't mean going oops. It means like literally the look in your face, the like now you're scared, now we're doubling back, now we're doing this. Now it's a little bit different when you're playing with your friends because like fuck it, it's your friends. You can be like, you totally fucked me, I'm gonna do something else here.
I've 100% said that.
100%.
I fucked that up. All right, let's continue.
yeah.
But, and being honest about
Making
that.
fucking things up.
What did I do now?
No. When just recently in the first episode of the Netherweave arc, I forgot that Tiff's goggles could see invisible things.
Yeah.
So what happened was we didn't retcon it. We said because they were like literally plane shifted into a desert, we were like they had to acclimate. So it was like in an Iron Man story when the suit goes down and then it's like comes back up.
And that's totally my excuse of why Kaylin was able to hit cash at all. Because I forgot about the displacement cloak.
Cloak of displacement wasn't activated yet.
You woke up that morning and you forgot to put the
it.
cloak on.
That's right. You Percy, you woke up with your butt flap open and everything.
Yep.
You had the cloak on, but it just wasn't like clasped all the way, and you're like, oh shit.
All right, I'm gonna derail this entirely to point out something truly hilarious. The very loud neighbors partying outside are now blasting Soulja Boy so hard it is shaking my floor. And it is Soulja
You should definitely get up and just start cranking that.
I haven't heard this song since middle school.
What a time.
Like 4 years ago?
I figured you're that much younger than us.
Are you a sweetie? Fuck no.
Oh yeah, I forgot Meg's the baby.
Yeah.
Meg's the baby, but not by that much.
For me, middle school was
Meg
last.
is barely younger than you, my guy.
I'm 31.
Me?
Yeah, I'm 29. I'm barely younger than you.
Barely, yeah.
Tiff and I, if I say this, Tiff might shoot me when I get home.
J-Lo dabs a millennial.
We almost have a decade on her.
Middle school for me was last millennial.
That's because you're old as shit.
Same.
You're not right. You're not wrong.
So one quick
J-Lo
thing
did say about the railroading thing. I feel like railroading would be forcing them to go left when they want to go right. That's railroading. That I don't do.
So speaking of
I'm really glad I wasn't taking a drink. What got you? I want to know what got
that kind of railroading. I will confess to technically having done that in the kids' game. They had gone through this. They had fought a cult in a crypt under a temple, and then very early in my DMing career, I think it was like my 4th session or something. I was like, I didn't know what to do in terms of story if they were to just leave the temple and go back to town. So at the beginning of the next session, they were messing around in the crypt. They had defeated the cult, so they were looting. And I basically put a sword in a stone type situation. And it wasn't like, it was supposed to be like a trick thing, like, oh, it's going to be real difficult. And they pull the sword out. And then one of the kids' characters hops up on the pedestal and sits on it. At which point, I said that the entire stairwell caved in with rocks. And now and there was one tunnel that had already been established as like some kobolds had come in through it. So I was like, you are now in a dungeon. You are in the Underdark. And I can essentially now control, you're not in the open sandbox anymore. So like, that was sort of sandbox or sort of railroading.
Personal opinion. Feel free to yell at me as much as you like. We all know that. But personal opinion, I think that doing things like that, if they fit in the story, doesn't necessarily... I feel like railroading is kind of a very specific and like potentially negative thing, where it's not necessarily like, hey, there's one way out of this room, because logistics say it's one way out of this room.
There's a difference between good railroad and bad railroad.
I feel like it's a very specific tool that needs to be used correctly, otherwise it's wrong. Yeah. You don't hammer nails with a fucking ratchet.
Yeah. Well, you can look at it as look at Curse of Strahd. The first part of Curse of Strahd up until getting to Vallaki is very rare. You are going to go here, and you're going to go here, and then you're going to go here. But as soon as you get to Vallaki, that's when it becomes sandboxy. It does that for a reason, because if you go somewhere too soon, you're fucked. Game's over.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I became very conscious of railroading with a DM Tiff and I had, where literally because we came to Fork and Road, and because we chose right, I think literally it was right, like we've joked about so far. Well, I didn't have that plan, so like they ended the session.
Oh.
No, it was actually a little worse. I think you've blocked out part of that memory.
Probably. Also, my memory's shit.
So the DM, we got to a situation where the DM said, okay, you have 4 options on paths to go on. And he explained all 4 options. And one of the options was like, go to this cave because there's some mages that have been causing some issues. And then another option was like, there's a bunch of hot lesbians that went south, it just like in a traveling caravan. You want to go check that out? My husband's character wanted to go check that out. So we didn't know which one we were supposed to go. So we're just like,
also, weird part, we had 2 teams and 2 sets of characters for this campaign. It was interesting.
That actually made the campaign interesting. But when we said we wanted to go that way, the DM said, well, I only planned the cave, so you're going to the cave. And we're like, okay.
That's not railroading.
That's a railroad.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
tell us the other options if you only have one ready? So, and then like an hour later, we had finished it, and we normally play for like 2 more hours after that. And he was like, well, I'm done. Like, okay. It's only been an hour and a half, man. All right. Yeah. I don't know. There's been good DM experiences in my life and bad DM experiences. I've already said Dustin was my first good DM.
Nice. Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bar wasn't too high, so
World's okay.
You just had to be the okayest.
yeah. Oh, we lost.
But because of that DM, I'm very conscious of railroading. Like just played some of my one shots where it's like literally, I don't even fucking know what you're doing. Like one of them, I had to go into a castle and get a thing, get out. I had the stats of the guards. I had a list of areas of the castle, and that's it. You turn a hall, you open a door. What room is it? I don't know. I roll a d20, and whatever value that is the room.
Yeah.
So it's literally a quantum castle. See, you guys right now, the Mountain of Mystery crew is in a literal sandbox, but is also a confined sandbox because it's a crater in the desert. So it's a literal sandbox. But in terms of story, like we didn't go into it thinking that there was going to be a linear story. It's literally we're like, we don't know where we are. So part of the story is just us exploring and finding out what's here and getting involved in things.
Yeah. Starting shit.
And
Stirring shit up.
Exactly.
Speaking of starting shit, we have our first question.
Question.
Oh
Let's see.
guys.
I put it up there. It's not up there. Why is it not up there? Okay, well, I don't know. There it is. How do you approach starting a new long-term campaign?
With one
I'm
shot.
You said one shot?
You run a one shot. And then it becomes one.
Becomes a fan. Yep.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
Yeah. With a good and thorough session 0. Damn it.
Yes.
That's the correct answer.
Mm-hmm. So I also like to send out to all of my players when I know I'm going to be starting a long-term campaign. I'll send out kind of a questionnaire. It's a little type A of me, but it's absolutely pivotal for the way that I like to communicate with people. So I'll send out a questionnaire which will include things like I've pulled it offline somewhere. It was free and available, and I think if you just Google it, you can find the fillable PDF. But it's DM safety tools, and it's what I have is like a boundaries sheet that's like what is so it's got a whole bunch of different topics on it about things that are a little bit hard to talk about or a little bit controversial, and then it has 3 check marks next to all of the things where it's like, when it comes to horror, are you cool with graphic descriptions of blood and guts and things? Are you cool with torture? Are you cool with body horror? Are you cool with all of these things? And you can check green, yellow, red, and then I have them all send it to me, and I make a big sheet of everybody's, and I don't put names on there. I just say, for our table, based off of what people have said, everybody has said green, so this is checked green. One person has said yellow, so it's checked yellow. One person has said red, so it is checked red. And we're going to hard take care of our people so that we never get into a situation where somebody's backstory, and the only reason I will ever ask you to change your character's backstory in an aggressive way is because it crosses somebody else's boundaries. And so I'll say, for instance, if somebody wanted to do something like saying they had a miscarriage or had a parent die, which is most common in D&D, is everybody's parents are dead. But if someone in the party had recently lost a parent and really didn't want to talk about parent death, hey, guess what? Nobody's parents get to be we don't get to talk about dead parents because that's a really sensitive topic. And so that way we can make sure that we are all safe and comfortable. And then also in that questionnaire that I send them, I'll send things like, what's one thing you want to happen in this campaign? It can be really specific. It can be really general. You can say, I want to go into a big old dungeon. I want to go around some dungeons. I'm like, dope. Mm-hmm. You're like, hey, this thing that relates to my backstory, this would be really cool and I want it. Cool. So that way I can start building in things that I know people want. And then I usually will have something that's just a couple questions of like combat, yay or nay? Do we love it? Do we hate it? Are we ambivalent? Role play, yay or nay? Do we love it? Do we hate it? Are we ambivalent? So that I can get a vibe for the table. And if somebody's answers are like way off from everybody else, usually that's when I'll talk to them and be like, hey, I want you here. I'd love to have you here and I'll do my best. But I want you to know what you want is not in the majority. And so I will be mostly going towards the majority. If you don't want to play this game, that is your prerogative. And I'm not going to try and make it hostile or make it a problem. I just want you to know this is
It's
not...
a very respectful, hey, this table might not be for you.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I start in a very type A way when talking about, like, before I even start building the world and the story of, like, who are my people? And then I look at what people want and start building from there. And then I look at, like, what stories I want to tell and how they kind of weave together. And then we totally go off the rails immediately.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Right.
said
You come up with a great and wonderful story and then come up with a completely different one in the middle because none of that happened.
Oh yeah.
Correct.
Or your Kenku dies at level 2, and now this is
but to be fair, there was no story for Mountain of Mystery. There was no
Yeah.
story. The story was you guys
the
were
Kenku
adventurers
died. We have
doing missions.
Your
That is
DM
it.
has this dragon that's just really hyped to introduce, and you start calling it Caramel Turtle.
But I also think that, like, a Monster of the Week mission-based thing is totally cool and super fun.
That was the plan.
If that's what people want, let's go.
Right. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
100% the plan.
But that's
I
why I
had, I
like
had
having those
an idea that I was just going to be like opening the monster manual book and
Mhm.
and picking 3 random pages, 3 random stat blocks, and that's your options to hunt for this upcoming hunt. And that was the plan, and then
That
boom,
worked.
that
one
exploded in my
time.
face.
You're welcome.
Literally.
Man. So I remember starting this group. Just Dustin reached out when I was live on TikTok and just mentioned
You
Curse
said
of
you'd never
Strahd.
been able to play Curse of Strahd, and I said, bet.
Yeah. And he
Yep.
put together a wonderful team of these weirdos and put us all in a Discord so we could talk. And I don't really think we had much of a session 0, except
And
we
I'm
just
so mad I
talked
missed
so
it.
much Discord.
We technically streamed it because that's where we came up with the name Pure Fucking Chaos.
Right. I just remember in that Discord just like talking back and forth with everyone, and I just put out a feeler like, hey, I kind of want my character to have a background with someone else's character. Anyone want to pair up? And Meg's like, yep,
yeah,
I do. And
that session 0 really went smooth because mostly, at least in my experience, modules are very easy to session 0 because, especially modules that people are familiar with. Like you all knew Curse of Strahd, basically.
Yeah.
So you knew what you were getting into.
It's going to be dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Korea.
And I started talking, and then the wedding bells started going, and it's
4 years later, we're still
every day.
waiting for my husband to die.
Literally, we are in the middle of a mission to rescue your kid.
Yeah.
It's still
Yes.
going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still don't know what's going on with my character. We're
I
child.
know. It's fine. My ex is involved. There's some shenanigans going on.
And I just love how that came out of fucking nowhere.
You
What?
know, her being my ex.
Her being the ex.
Oh yeah.
That it was just a random thing that was brought up earlier in that session, and right away in my brain, or not even right away, it was when she became that is when you were the one getting close to her, and I'm like, oh, bet this is the ex.
Yep.
She was not
Correct.
the ex until that moment.
Yeah. An absolutely classic DM move.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had to get real used to that, especially at the gathering.
You guys, I just saw what the next question is. I'm so incredibly offended.
Do it. What is it?
All right.
So when's the divorce?
Huh?
Divorce. Never.
Unless you mean, wait, do you mean?
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Do you mean the
From,
two of them or the
from
two of us?
RIP, so when's the divorce?
I need clarification because I need to know if it's in real life or in the game.
I assume it's me and Tiff.
I will
Yeah,
put
Zach
money.
Dixie
I will
and-
put money down that was Genma.
Yeah. Lily and Vive.
Never.
Never.
It's
He
up
will
to
murder the universe
It's up
before
to
that happens.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't think it's possible for them to
imagine-
get divorced.
if Lily said, "I want to get divorced," Vive would die.
Yeah.
But do it.
Yeah.
He'd go dark.
I
He'd
think
become
the
the
worst they'll
he's
ever
the
get to
BBEG.
is Vibe is sleeping on the couch for the next couple of days.
Vibes in the sailor
that's
house.
Probably the worst they'll get to. At this point.
Vibes in the goat house.
Yeah. Gets put out to pasture.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the topic at
sorry
hand.
I've been reading a book called Proactive Role Playing, and it is about so it would be like a session half, and it's the idea like of talking about your characters, talking about the characters, sort of maybe how they know each other or like where they're from, so maybe they're from the same areas. But proactive role playing is about essentially reverse engineering a plot around the players, where instead of coming up with a BBEG and then putting the players in the world to react to them, you have the players tell you, you say, what, like basically what's your character's goal, dream, and wish? Like what are they working on now? What would they someday like to work on? And what's the thing that, like, if the gods came through for them, is something they would love to happen? And then you can start building adventures that advance their goals without a villain. Because the kids taught me, they'll create their own villain. And then the world is reacting to them, to the players and to the characters, rather than the characters reacting to the world. But then within a few sessions, it starts a feedback loop because the world reacts to them, they react to the world. Yeah. And then you start...
Exactly how Mountain of Mystery formed. 100%.
Yep.
I'd like to talk about it in... sorry, I interrupted you. You go.
No, you're fine. Who's going?
Tiff, go.
I'm done.
In my recent campaign that has been on hiatus for a little while just because everyone's busy, but I did have a plot line, BBG, problem in the universe kind of thing. But when the characters started giving me their backstories, I would work in their backstory, make sure they all had an arc, whether it was related to the BBG or not. Turned out that I could easily fit in a lot of their stories to what was happening in the world. And yeah, depending on what they do, they might be done in just a few more sessions. So we'll see. But I do like the idea of I do like what Cap said, like making a plot based on everything that the characters want. I feel like I would panic at going into something without a basic knowledge of what the plot's going to be. I feel like I need just a little bit to get started and feel comfortable enough to invite people to a campaign. But if you are able to just throw shit at the wall until something sticks, that's impressive.
Hi.
Well,
No, you go.
Exactly what I do.
Well, also that the world they will be inhabiting, there's obviously things like if you have them start in a moderately sized city, like a small city, large town, there's obviously things that are happening that aren't even BBEG level, but like there's organized crime, there's guilds, there's factions, and there's feuds, and there's nobles, and there's politics, and there are things that are just part of a world. And you don't even necessarily have to develop all of them because, again, it's like Schrodinger's details. They don't really get the details, and you don't have to come up with them until you know that they're going to start interacting with those things. But then those things sort of It's like, oh, the thing that you just did as part of your character story is you wanted to acquire wealth, and so you went and you raided a cavern. Well, there was somebody who had a deal with a dragon that was living in that cavern, and now you've pissed them off, and
Fair.
now they've pissed off the world.
Also, I called out Jordan saying he was the one who put in the divorce comment, and he has not denied it. So I'm
If it wasn't, Jen already said it wasn't him. So. Tinny, maybe Tinny.
We have a question for Tanis. This question is for Tanis from Anonymous. Hey boy, you got a pretty mouth. You got a boyfriend? Do you want one? This definitely isn't from J-Lo.
We'll talk later, buddy.
Somebody almost owed me a keyboard.
I can already feel it now. As soon as Blue sees that clip, she's gonna be like, "I'm gonna fucking find this bitch."
True.
Again, you can absolutely leave us a question.
Back to what we were saying, super quick. The only thing I wanted to add was that the in the performative world we call it, but in the performative world we have the same concept for character creation. And instead of like your goal and your wish, the way it is, the way it's described is, what do you want? What do you fear? Where did you come from? And the where did you come from we also call like the moment before. So the idea is not what is your whole huge massive backstory. It's what literally just happened. Because when you walk onto stage, you're never just entering a room from nothing in the like mind of the play, right? You're always coming in from the kitchen, from outside, from this other place. You're always coming from somewhere. And so I take a very similar approach to story building, probably because that's where all my fucking training is. So take it
Weird how that works.
I know, right? But so I take a similar approach. I care about the backstory because the players care about the backstory. And as a player, I care about my backstory. And so, like, as a DM, you have to care to some degree. You don't have to hold it as holy. You don't have to, like, always use every little piece. But you should always use something, in my personal opinion. And even if it's, like, not an actual event or person, even if it is, like, a reoccurring event in someone's life. Like, this person is always getting rejected, so I'm going to set them up with that feeling of rejection so that they can overcome that and feel all of that character growth or something. As long as a player hasn't like explicitly said, like, I would really like something specific. I would really like a call out for one reason or another. And I'll still try and do that when I can, but like I won't make it my focus. But I will always try and figure out, and I will always ask my players, like, where did we just come from? Like, what was the last thing you were doing? And that could be within the last year. That could be within the last week. Fuck, it could have been that morning. Like, what mindset are you in? Where did you just come from? So that I can kind of get a decent baseline of, like, where are we starting this? So that I make sure whatever story I'm helping to tell, I can leave opportunity for change in that dynamic.
That's kind of how, when we came into Mountain of Mystery, I guess that's what I was doing with Laz, because I knew we were starting in Rexentrum and I knew we were starting in that bar. And so my immediate thought was, why is he in that bar? Like, what brought him to that bar? How did you get here? And that's like this, yeah. So like, and there's still a story beat there that has not occurred. Of course, that was technically my own fault too, but we'll get there.
Okay.
It's fine. We'll get there. We'll get there or we'll die. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Got a question. Let's see. Dark Crescent Studios was actually talking about how they're making something with custom armor piece, and they will no longer question how much custom armor costs for their character in game. It's a lot of work. This is from Anonymous. What kind of tools do you use to determine costs of custom items that your players are wanting to have made for them? Make it up as you go is my answer.
Yeah. I have a thing that I found on DM's Guild that has like a table of like, here's how much this costs, that costs, and the normal adventuring gear. And I will kind of go off of that. Like, you know, plate armor's 3,000 gold, something like that. So if plate armor is 3,000 gold and you're trying to make something involving plate armor, so okay, it's going to be at least 3,000, and then the components you're using are like 500, 1,000, whatever, and then I'll just kind of add that together. Not to mention
plate armor to get customized. It's cheaper. You know, there's things you can do.
Yeah. And then I also kind of go in the mindset of the person making it too, because much like Dark Crescent is finding out, this shit's hard to do. So I assume even like as Pumat, when he has to go in the back and make all these magical items, that's work. It's not easy. He blows shit up sometimes. So he has to charge for labor. So he, you know, that's factored in too. So
and then
I
also
look
like,
at it from a shopkeeper's point of view.
Right.
And then like, are you bringing something for them to work on, or do they have to make it from scratch?
Yeah. Well, with that too, if you're bringing in something rare that they've never been able to work on and they're excited about it, like, fuck, I'll give you a discount because I get to use this. That kind of cool thing can happen too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That creates story opportunities too.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That could also go the other way too. Oh fuck, I have to work with this again. I'm upcharging, bitch. I hate working with this shit.
Or this is a thing I've never worked with and always wanted to, but I have no clue what I'm doing. I actually know less about this thing than I know about a normal thing. And so it's going to take me more time and more effort.
Or you better have a spare.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
As a human in real life who makes I know, I'm so sorry. Most of the time,
She's not actually a fae.
As a human presenting fae,
as a human presenting person in real life. I'm gonna add that to my Tinder bio. But
yeah,
as a human presenting person in real life, I worked in live theater in costume shops building things. As part of my actual job, I have to price things. So one of the things that I'm so real answer, real true like nitty gritty answer for the game, I fucking Google it every time. And I Google, yo, what's this? And I get the same Reddit post every time. And I have not saved that Reddit post. I Google it every time.
The same price guide?
Probably. I don't remember what it is. It's the same Reddit post I get every single time. It's the real, true, nitty gritty answer. But I will adjust it based off things I know in my life. Like, and how expensive, like what the economy of the place we're in is. Because if this is like, and what kind of store they're at. Like if they're at like a luxury store, shit, it's going to cost more for you to go to Gucci than Gap. You know, like we got to figure that.
Yeah.
You going to Target or Walmart here? What are we doing?
Or are we going to a tailor? Are we going to a cobbler? Are we going, and that looks different in D&D world, but are we going for custom made? Because I will tell you right here, right now, with an article of clothing that most people have at least seen. A nice suit coat. A nice suit coat that was made by machine, and I mean a nice one made properly, that was made by machine, mass produced, will cost you, depending on where you buy it, around $200. A custom made tailor, like not adjusted, custom made, well tailored, beautiful coat made by yours truly, who is not a tailor but has has tailoring skills, will cost you about $2,000. If you want a good one,
Yeah.
like now, if you want something that's like okay and like fine, I can do it for about 500. But like if you want a true proper, so it's a matter of like knowing who you're going to, knowing what their specialties are. Is it custom? Is it like altered? Is it like motherfucker, I got this off the truck from China? Like what's the quality level we're talking about too?
Yeah. And you said too earlier, like, what's the economy like? What's going on in the world? Is there a war going on? If there is, there ain't a lot of healing potions, and they're expensive because all the healing potions are going to the army.
Yeah.
There might not be iron or steel. It's going on. It's going to the army.
Exactly.
Like resources.
That's where we get from.
Yeah. There was supposed to be a beat.
Go ahead.
Well, there was supposed to be a story beat that I completely forgot. I had thought of it. I hadn't written it down, so of course it disappeared until now that I thought of it. In the punctuation mark with Mark Weaver, there was supposed to be, and there is, and nobody noticed it because he was such an extravagant little fella, at the register where you know, like a restaurant would have the bowl of mints that are like, take one. There is a bowl of 500 gold diamonds, because diamonds, interesting, are just like they're just rocks that nobody cares. You can find them anywhere. Now, given the situation that's happening right now, if that were to stay that way, things would change because they can't get out. But like diamonds are plentiful and ordinary. So he literally has a little dish of 500 gold diamonds that just says take one, which would have been a great beat. Yeah, right.
Like how in real life, diamonds are actually diamonds are carbon. They are actually really fucking common if you don't know.
Yeah.
But companies like De Beers have a freaking monopoly on that shit, and they control that shit so tightly. Like there's beaches where you can just find diamonds on the beach. They will check your tires at gunpoint to make sure there aren't any stuck in the treads.
I like what JLo just said. I'm looking for D&D, like a D&D Sheen, adventuring on a budget. Temu D&D.
And the thing I was gonna say, also, like, you go to get your stuff made. Are you getting a professional blacksmith? Is the blacksmith out because he's working on a war effort? So you get the apprentice.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. What was it? It was the big city, the kingdom, where the king resides in my campaign, where I distinctly made 3 different magical shops. There was the expert shop, high prices, but they know what they're doing. You know the quality you're going to get. There was the flea market, where they may have what you're looking for. You get a bag of holding from there. It has a bunch of glitter in it, but you know it works. It's fine.
That might be shaped in a certain way.
Yeah, get glitter, if anyone's wondering.
Get glitter.
The one that they went to was my chaotic little magic shop that's run by this old wizened man who may be able to enchant your item properly.
They went to Dollar Tree. Got it.
I would go for it.
They went to Goldman's Tree. Or Copper Piece
Just
Tree.
saying, my character did not go there.
I think one of my players wanted a helm of teleportation, and I rolled and I said, yeah, he knows how to make those. Cool. All right. He will totally make you one. And then I rolled to see how well he did. Let's just say that guy had to roll a D100 every time he used it, and pray he got above a 30.
I was going to say, one of the options is it teleports your head, and that's it.
I had a pair of boots. They were the boots of teleportation. You click the heels, and the boots teleport.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well, that's it.
Boots do.
I had in the kids' world, there is a guy, his name is Brad Arbogast. He's Brad the Bard. His charisma is garbage. He is a terrible bard, but he wanted to be a bard despite his natural abilities. And so he actually runs a magic shop that was a bar that he bought. He didn't even remodel the interior. So the interior is still a bar, but what happens is it's in a bigger city. So adventurers come into a big city and retire, or like a third level party goes out and like gets its ass whooped and comes back and they're like, we're done. And so they sell their equipment. Well, all the equipment's used. So he's got like high level stuff that's been through shit. And then he's got other stuff, but it's all secondhand. He doesn't know how good any of it is. And so, well, yeah, when you buy it, it's used and it might still work.
Are you going to get a flame tongue or a slightly bright knife?
Or
Or
you're going to get a
single hot tamale.
Just real quick, I want to verbally say this. Dark Crescent Studios, do it.
Do
Are
it.
you going to get a flame tongue or a lame tongue?
Dare.
What are we
Double
doing?
dare.
Dick
Glitter dice.
glitter dice.
Oh, fucking
Glitter
do it.
dice? Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Those sell like crazy,
Yeah.
honestly.
Mm-hmm. Richard Glitter. That's
You
going to be a
could
character now.
You could bring 100 sets of those to the gathering. I guarantee
Please name the
you
Dick
they
Glitter
would be
dice
gone.
Richard Glitter.
Because
dice.
Norse would probably buy 20 of them.
I will make a character named Richard Glitter, and I will roll the Dick Glitter dice.
I will probably buy a set for everyone.
That'll
I'm
I'm
gonna call you
against.
Dick Licker. I hope you know that.
You will or you won't?
I will call you Dick Licker.
Dick Lick. That's fine too. I'll make him flamboyantly gay.
Yeah, I'm
Hell
a-
yeah.
Do it.
I did not hear the G in glitter. I heard dick litter. Litter.
Oh,
Glitter.
I was hearing clitter for a while, and that was fun. Um,
Richard Glitter is a tabaxi.
Hold on. Hold on, chat. Okay, so the Dick Glitter dice are Richard.
Oh, did we lose
that's
you?
it. That's it. Just Richard.
Just
Just
that's
Richard.
it.
Richard. That's all we heard.
No last name, no middle name. Just
Richard.
Just Richard.
Just Richard.
Richard Dyson.
I'm not gonna
They,
say
they,
it.
they did Richard Dixon.
Um,
They put Richard Dixon in chat, so
Richard
Dyson.
Dixon.
one
Richard
of you needs to
Dyson.
remind me to tell y'all a story when we are not live on the internet.
Are you
We'll
sure?
record
This-
it.
Yeah, you might get some views out of it.
No, I'm telling you, this is not good to have me saying on the internet.
We will record it in audio and put it on Patreon.
No, and you'll know why later.
All right, everyone. D&D hot take. Go.
Ooh,
Fuck
who first? Because I got one. It's in the barrel. It's ready to go.
you.
I will fight you on
You
yours.
did-
So I'll do
Let
mine
him go
first.
first since he's already posted his hot take today.
Go for it.
Me first?
Sure.
I'm sorry, folks, but no matter what the misprint on page 3 of the D&D Player's Handbook says, triple zeros on percentile die is mathematically a 10.
You know, you have the right to be wrong. You're just
That's how I
abusing
feel.
that right.
I will fight you on this hill.
It's
Every-
okay.
every-
Oh,
pause. I'm writing that down. That is a quote. Holy shit.
the top of this hill.
You have the
the
right
top of
to
this,
be wrong, but you're abusing
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
that's a sticker. So the top of this hill, 200 years from now, will have 2 gravestones on it.
It's a abbreviation of a quote from I forgot where it's from, but the real quote is
Wizard?
you
Was it
you
Wizard?
everyone has the right to be stupid sometimes. You're abusing that right, but you're not being stupid. You're just being wrong.
No,
You're
I'm
actually
being
being smart with
mathematically
it.
correct.
You're just still wrong.
So
I'm being
honestly, I
pedantic.
didn't learn how to DM from the DM's guide. I kind of learned from other DMs and just fucking going for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm dying on the hill with Cap.
The funniest
Ugh.
no. Mm-mm.
No.
Because when you roll it, that zero, if you roll a d10, the zero's a 10.
I've never
Ro-
rolled 0 damage on an Eldritch Blast, and I have a 10% chance of doing so. If that 0 is supposed to be a 0.
Otherwise,
Zero,
the
but it's
d10
100.
is a d9.
So how, in your mind, do you roll anything under 10? Because in your world, that is impossible.
00, and then if you roll a 00, that's 0. And then that's 0 in the tens place. So anything you roll on the single digit die is a single digit because you add the two together.
So you'd roll 1 through 9.
I see how yours makes sense.
No.
I understand.
Well,
do.
The problem with mine is it's wonky. All the decade numbers are wonky because if you roll, so 100 would be 90 and a 0 on the 10 because it's 90 plus 10. That means that rolling a 90 is an 80 plus a 0, 80 plus 10. So it's funky on all the, because a 10 would be, so 10 is a 0, 0, 0.
You ableist motherfucker. As a human with dyslexia who cannot handle, I need the internet to know I am joking when I call you an ableist motherfucker. Just to be really clear, I am.
Real quick, because my wife's an English teacher, you're speaking of dyscalculia, not dyslexia.
I have both, but you pedantic.
I didn't know there was a difference.
I'll join you into this.
Jordan agrees with us. Y'all fuckers are outnumbered.
As a human who cannot handle numbers in their brain, doing more math to make a story enjoyable is the heart. It's why I play 5e, not Pathfinder.
Also, I'm going to call my wife out because she hasn't actually said it. She's on the same hill as Cap.
I know she is. I know she is.
Yeah, we know.
The thing is,
we had this fight at one point.
Yeah,
during the game.
We did. Because we rolled a triple Meg rolled a 000 for trouble sanity.
Oh, yeah.
And
then we had like a 10-minute fucking conversation.
A problem. So here's what I say as a DM. Here's the honest answer for me as a DM. I do not care which method you use, but be consistent.
Be consistent and establish it in session 0. It's like such a fine detail, but like in session 0, be like, this is the percentile rule. It may never come up, but this is the rule.
I don't actually care if people are doing it differently from each other. So like, you can do it your fucked up way. Dustin and I will be right. And what can happen is we can be right. Y'all can fuck off. But you can be doing it consistently and the answer will still happen, right? Like we still will get the same odds for everything.
Correct.
You're doing more work than is absolutely necessary for no fucking reason. And we're over here enjoying the stories we're telling.
It's my Excel spreadsheet brain. But the fun thing is, and this is what I say, I will die on this hill, but I won't. I am fighting on this hill. I won't actively fist fight on the hill. I will perish upon it though, because I understand that making 000 100 is an aesthetic choice and it's a simplification choice. Because like if you roll a 90 and a 0, it's easier to just say yes, that's a 90, even though mathematically that's not how those dice work. Like you have to say the dice means something else in this one instance in order to say that's this.
I have a different hot take.
Welcome back.
What's Zach's hot take?
The 000s.
So no, I haven't really delved into the new system. The new system is inherently racist, even though it's trying to fight racism.
What?
The new species system, while trying to avoid racism, is inherently racist because of it getting rid of half elves and half orcs.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that.
Like
I said, I haven't looked at the 2024 rules.
I haven't looked at the system, but in theory, what I had heard was they were getting rid of half orcs, half elves, the half races, in order to create a system where you could mix any two races, so that it was not inherently half human.
So you could be a half orc, half elf.
Whatever. Yeah.
And so the half was not, because that's a race thing that a person this white shouldn't be the one to educate you on in our own linguistic system.
All that's reminding me of is I saw a post earlier that said Disney was more inclusive when they weren't trying to be inclusive.
They were.
Like, you look back, Brother Bear, Lilo and Stitch, all the older movies with tons of different races did better than what they're trying to do today. So that's what that reminds me of.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
When it's forced, it doesn't work.
I'd have to actually
Well,
look at it.
My math brain and then my genealogy brain, that little sliver of the Venn diagram in my brain that is genealogy and math. When you say half elf, I'm like, oh, okay, so your mom was a full elf and your dad was a full human. But it's like getting rid of the idea of like half elf, because I'm like, well, the character of what was his name, Alvin Jabra, the bartender who was 15/16 elf or something like that. Because my genealogy brain is like, if you're saying you're half elf, that's a specific thing, and it goes towards what Meg was talking about.
I'm half Irish. It does not count anymore.
Yeah. I'm 11% Irish, but what does that mean? I have 10 great grandparents and one of them was Irish. Or no, I have 9 great grandparents and one of them was Irish.
Math, stop it. I have not seen the new system where they have mentioned that they're going to try and make it so that you can pick from each race of your parents. I have seen people do that in homebrew stuff. DMs,
Yeah,
there's a
I've
good
seen
one.
that.
I've not seen the official one yet, but yeah, it did surprise me that they were taking away the half races, but I'm hoping to read how they're going to bring together the. But
Also,
we
apparently I've already
are
updated stuff
hot
since
take
my
because
last
this is getting
thing, so.
dangerous for Twitch, in my opinion. Dangerous topics might get us
What's
canceled.
about the hot take?
I have a hot take that is
Bring it.
Something I think some people in this crew will disagree with.
Is it the divorce papers?
No, that's not a hot take.
No, we all agree on those.
That is room temperature.
Tepid at best.
Tepid take.
And this is why I drink.
The hot take. I think combat systems in tabletop RPGs are mostly fucking boring. I really cannot stand combat. I think it drags out. I think even if you're trying to tell a good story, as a player, that's an important caveat. Because as a DM, you're so overwhelmed with shit happening. I don't think combat is as much fun as it could be. And I don't know what could make it fun. I think
one thing
is a necessary part of the story to help further whatever goal it is as an easy out for conflict. But I think that in theory you could leave combat out of a campaign entirely and have an incredibly fun campaign.
Oh, I really don't think that's a hot take. I would heavily agree with that.
A lot of people fight me on this one.
There are people that prefer combat.
I also agree because I've played other systems. Like when
I was just going to say that.
When I'm running a campaign, what I really want to do is I want to bring in the Pathfinder 2 mechanic because I find currently.
I can't say Pathfinder. I'm so sorry.
Well, I want to bring in one specific mechanic because I find D&D to be very limiting of what you have to run or not, you have to strike or not, or how about just you have potentially 3 phases. You have your action, your bonus action, and your movement. How about if you just want to fucking run the whole time you're running? You could do that in Pathfinder 2. If you want to just keep swinging, you could do that in Pathfinder 2.
Instead of
But
taking
as you swing, if you just want to go all in and swing at somebody like they're a pinata, as you keep swinging, there's a detriment because you start getting tired. That makes sense. I find that to be significantly better than D&D of action, bonus action, movement.
Yeah.
Jordan put a comment on there that said not only is it boring, it's also convoluted as hell. I don't find 5e convoluted. I say that because I do agree that it can get boring. I only say that now because I've recently been learning about Warhammer. Don't freak out. I'm not going to be playing Warhammer, but I have been watching it played. And it's cool to watch the way I watch it because they edit it the fuck down. The amount of rules, holy shit. Every army has different rules. of how you're allowed
Mm.
fucking. Whew. Nothing is wrong with playing Warhammer, by the way. I'm not going to be able to afford it or like be able to do it. I have been enjoying.
I have played Warhammer. I do not currently play Warhammer.
Yeah,
I've not
I
played Warhammer in a long
love
time.
the lore of it. I love watching it be played on. I forgot the YouTube channel, but it's 40K in 40 minutes. I've been heavily enjoying that. You guys should check that out. But yeah, 30d6 damage. Yeah, but that 30d6 damage could possibly only do 3 damage
Well, I can't
because of
go that
rolls.
high.
Yeah. Well, I think the other half of Meg's hot take is that 5e is not the best system to tell a narrative heavy story. 5e is built for combat.
Y'all, I want to play
so-
kids on bikes.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Well, that's why with the Netherweave we're messing with mechanics in ways that are potentially game breaking, but we kind of don't care because it's a like geographically isolated. Like these rules or lack of rules only apply in this area that is literally a completely unique thing we have invented. And so like when we're out of there, those rules don't apply anymore. But we get to sandbox in a meta way to see like how much is this gonna fuck the game up.
Yeah.
We have a very sweet question to get to. So, do we have any other hot takes?
Mine is I there's a caveat to this because it's only specifically in Curse of Strahd. I don't like artificers in Curse of Strahd.
I don't like artificers.
I played one and found it boring.
I do enjoy, I don't ever want to, tell someone they can't play.
No, you can always play one.
But
She's not
in
watching
Curse
this, so I
of
can say
Strahd,
this.
I'd rather you not.
It's all
I
artificers.
don't like that my one.
fucks
I don't like that my
with
one
stuff so
friend
hard.
from Alabama says artificer
true.
instead of artificer.
Ooh, no.
Oh,
I will fight
Yeah.
him.
no, is that Ray?
He
I
will
know
kick
somebody
your
who does.
ass.
I want
Is
to
that
buy
Ray
an
Storm?
artificus.
But yeah, so
Uh,
if you
that-
say
that's-
artificer and it
That's
fucking
my
hurts.
hot take. A lot of people agree with me. A lot of people don't. Specifically in Curse of
artificer-
Strahd, just simply because like it's supposed to be scary, and one of the scarier aspects is how few magical items you are able to get, and artificers just go to that. So
Yeah. My
One last
artificer
quick hot take.
has a sepia colored trench coat. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think this group can make a 6E better than Wizards of the Coast is currently making their current system.
Oh, that's not a hot take. That's just logic.
3
Yeah.
12-year-olds could come up with a better system than the code.
3 kobolds in
anyway,
a trench
Tiff,
coat.
what's the question?
I will give a hot take of
Meg's better.
That's lukewarm too.
as someone who is
Going for
currently
the papers.
a multi-class warlock, I think warlocks are very boring to play. I don't like playing them.
Listen,
We are one-trick ponies.
go fuck yourself. I love warlocks. Warlocks are amazing and wonderful, and I will Eldritch blast my way to victory in this argument. I swear.
But are they fun and amazing for narrative reasons or mechanical reasons? Because I feel like a lot of the reasons, I feel like a lot of the reasons that certain character classes or subtypes can get boring is because we get slavish to the mechanics. Because then you're in a combat and you're like, what can I do? And it's like, oh, I can do this again, and then this again.
I can
And you sort of
Eldritch
lose.
blast again.
Pew, pew, pew.
I had a situation. I was playing in Curse of Strahd, and we were at the vineyard, and we had snuck in, but the twig blights were coming at us. I stayed at the door, and I just blasted away while my team did the thing. Oh, I was literally having a blast. All right, it was great. Also, narratively, I will admit it has to be like you got to have a good patron for that.
Yeah.
Part of it to be interesting.
If it wasn't endless, I would not have dipped into warlock.
That's true.
See, Endless is a wonderful patron.
Or one of Tiff's current players.
Because he's not actively trying to fuck you over.
Here's a secondary mildly warm take is that I like starting longer term campaigns at much lower levels because I like leveling up according to the story. Because Laz has leveled up. Laz took a level of barbarian after the dragon fight because his defenses weren't that great, and he ended up getting unarmored defense, which meant he took off his armor and his AC went up. Later on, he took a level of fighter for store. So like, you know, taking a feat like of Gift of the Gem Dragon after the characters just encountered a Gem Dragon, I think is a more narratively satisfying way to level up rather than going, we're going to start at level 9, so choose all of your level ups based on how you want to play now.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's my favorite.
Also, I do want to say to Jordan in chat, he was saying Action Surge, Eldritch Blast.
Damn right.
Do that with the new rules, the 2024 rules. Action Surge
are wrong.
No
Surge,
longer
Eldritch Blast.
the spell.
Oh, it's
And that's why we're going to be playing
Rules,
5e
okay.
for like a long, long time.
we're playing 5.2.
Let's move to the cute question. I wonder what it is.
Yep.
I had to come back to the go fuck yourself, but I think I'll leave it for later.
You don't have to, babe. I'm right here.
Thank you. You gave me the comeback. Okay.
I always
I love you, Meg. I appreciate you.
Since you are all in the Mountain of Mystery group and the story is beautiful thus far, is there an iconic point that any of you liked, disliked, or is most memorable? Love this question. Thank you. And yes, it was when my fucking Kenku exploded.
Yeah, that was kind of memorable.
Oh, that's so the beginning.
Feathers
So to
everywhere.
say, the inciting incident. So episodes 1, 2, and 3 were literally just like, and then the inciting incident happened.
Kaboom.
Kaboom! Jinma!
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing.
We had Jim come on the call.
Jim
real quick,
over there
just pick
going,
the boom.
whoops.
I just looked down and saw that one, and it got me.
Great thing. I didn't realize this, and Tiff pointed this out. The reason that Sato went completely monk shit on that Displacer Beast just recently, it didn't click in my head that he has this irrational hatred for Displacer Beast connected to that moment with Trouble. And Tiff pointed that out, and I was like,
Oh.
it's so good. Right? Same thing. It's so good.
Huh.
And it's connected to Cash because Cash with the cloak. So the Displacer Beasts were drawn to us by Cash. And then that triggered Sato to just go monk shit. And so, like, this one little incident created this whole scenario here 40 episodes, 50 episodes later.
Yeah. And it really goes to show that Jinma is playing his character as having that trauma of causing Trouble's death and hasn't worked it out yet.
Or just because specifically Norisian,
Stop smiling.
how the
Deep.
frick you pronounce that, says my chest hurts. The emotional damage I did when I had Cassius, like, after, like, a shit day, just took his armor off and just, like, slothed it off. And Trouble got to see the burn scar that was left on his chest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really say, as a player, one of my favorite things is the interactions with Cash, because it's so, like, from Trouble's side, at least, from Mancha's side, it's very much like early on, it was, why did they keep you? It was one of those, like, ideas of, like, why were you good enough to protect and I was left to die? And so it's this really harsh, really juvenile jealousy that is not even a little bit Cash's fault. Like, Cash did nothing. And Trouble,
you know what?
So
I don't think I've ever said this. I actually appreciate that interaction because I've never had anything like that.
yeah, so it was one of
Which
those.
also meant I had no idea how to handle it. That was
You did good though. You did good.
You did great.
But that was, I've never had anything like that in D&D, so that was interesting. And then when it's like, you know, just she wanted to fight Casabat. It's like, okay, but he's not gonna really put his heart. You know, it's very one sided, like you're saying. So like, Cash isn't gonna put his heart into it. He started hitting trouble when, like, you know, he was getting low on HP. He started hitting her back because he had to.
Yeah.
But only because he had to.
But I loved that dynamic, and I love in this campaign. I've been very adversarial with like a lot of people. There's been a lot of people where I'm like, fuck them, fuck this, and like very, very like not above the table, like above the table, checking in with those people and being like, hey, are you okay with this? I'll back off. But in this moment, this feels good narratively. If this is not something you're into, like I'll back the fuck off. She'll cool off. But like checking in with people, but in the story, like really letting her lay into people, really letting her be angry. Because I never really I haven't really ever played with a D&D character that's got this same kind of rage that wasn't a mechanic.
Chad never got to see this, but I literally photoshopped a Kenku that was like foaming at the mouth, saying "Cash behind me." That was holding a dagger.
So like really getting to play with those dynamics and really getting to play with like the world that is her like resolution of emotion, and getting to play with like the fact that she has now out loud to people, just not these people, referred to Cash as her brother. Yeah. But she still won't say it to the crew. She still won't say it to these people. But she has acknowledged it herself, and she has told others. But as someone who really loves this story, I think one of my favorite things to kind of witness and be part of somewhat, but like really watch you guys and watch us as a whole like make was the flashback. These adults that we've been fucking ragging on so hard.
Oh yeah.
Like getting to experience their fun, their youth, their growth,
like, who they were before.
Who they
or
were
like when Dustin's like, "Hey, you're playing John," and I groaned audibly. Because I had built up that disdain for John so heavily that as soon as he's like, "You're gonna be John," I'm like, "Oh fuck, no, why?"
I had an amazing magic item for him that I did not get to give him in story.
Oh.
So Elowin had a this was another like other party retired. Elowin was the bartender at the Last Word, and such a regular, like, you know, most of the adventurers knew her. So there was this high level party that had their last adventure and they retired. And as a gift, their wizard gave this book to Elowin, and the book was the Book of Misspelling. Once per long rest, you can use a reaction to change to change, add, or remove one letter from a spell that someone else casts. So like say the bad guy casts Blight at 9th level, and you use your reaction, you're like, haha, I take away the B, you just cast Light at 9th level. Or your character casts Light, and you use your reaction to turn it into Blight. And then that book had a companion book called the Book of Miscasting. So that book could be used to alter someone else's spell. The Book of Miscasting recorded the altered spell if it was a new one, and made it a spell someone could cast from the Book of Miscasting. None of that got used.
There was an item like that in Tiff's last campaign. I forget what our warlock used it for, but my bard altered Mage Hand to be Mage Band. So he always had like a backup band. Even if he was playing solo, he had essentially clones of his bard group.
Amazing.
Tiff, I want to hear your answer to it.
I'm thinking I had 3 in my head and lost one, so maybe it'll come back to me. One that I keep laughing at over and over again in my head when I think about it is when Prince and Sato recently had that moment when they were talking and Sato was talking about his rage to her, and at the end she went to hug him, and I described he said he put like one arm around her, and I described that she started purring and he groaned. That just, it hits me every time. I just laugh at that. Just the thought of just this giant Goliath man.
Just the thought of Jen McGroney. Got it.
Somebody's hugging him.
That's a beautiful name. inside and out.
Yep.
What?
The one that got me, let's see, and I'm not gonna say I disliked this moment, but there was a time where I just like bawled off screen because of Dustin.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had one of those too.
Whoops.
My dad passed away in 2017, and when he was talking about how Prince's father was like watching over her when she was born and whatnot, even though he had already passed, that got me. Like it hit me in a place I didn't realize I hadn't healed yet. So therapy got me there.
Yeah, I had to like check on her. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, no, he check on me because
I certainly did after the game too.
Yeah.
I just saw how affected you were, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta check in here.
Yep.
Oh shit, struck a nerve. Oops.
Yep. I was like, keep it together until the camera's off. Okay. There was another one. I can't remember what it was. So I'll say it if it comes back to me.
What about you, Cap?
Well, building off of Tiff's, the moment that did not involve me at all, my favorite moment that I got to create, and I had to run it by you, Dustin, because originally it was going to be a little bit different, was Moon and Prince interacting in the bar.
Yeah.
And then that ending.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep. It was like every aspect of it. The two of them, like I knew once I set the two of them up, it was going to be gorgeous. But there was that little part in the back of my brain that was so proud of having that thought. Like that, most of that encounter with the bad guy was designed for that. The beacon was designed to facilitate that. And as we've been talking about this Netherweave thing, there's interesting parallels between that whole beacon moment and what happened with Prince in the Glade in the Feywild, and all these weird convergences of magical frequencies and the weird effects they had. My favorite Laz moment is going to be the moment that he effectively used his words, because he tried it. It was a great culmination. He tried it with Diamac, and he tried it with the Nightwalker, and he tried it with somebody else, I can't remember who. And then at a certain point, he was like, I'm messing around with all these small mortal underlings down here. I just got to take it to the big guy. And when he communicated with and successfully mollified that one fragment of everything and nothing.
Oh.
So satisfying.
Oh.
Without a punch.
For the third one.
There you
go.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I think I remember my third one. The reason I couldn't remember it for a second was it's kind of happening right now. This is not necessarily spoilers. I'm not going to give spoilers to anybody, but it's kind of like just a summation of what's going on in Prince's head. She is not good right now. She is regressing badly because she doesn't have Aja. She doesn't have Endless. She doesn't have her normal rocks that, can hold her down if she needs it. And
this motherfucker just mentioned the person that she blames herself for dying.
She has pulled everyone out of their scenario, away from the person that they're trying to protect and help. And it's all her fault because of her fucking magic. And yeah, then you bring up the fact that, Pierce is dead because of her. And she's just like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next session. It is not going to be good. She is not in a good place.
I have an idea.
I'm curious what's going to happen.
What does she want? She wants to leave. She wants to go back to Aja. Do you want a tiny spoiler?
No.
It's not really a spoiler.
Spoiler, but
what are your favorites? Or
I
not like?
I don't know.
You don't like. He's super negative.
You know what?
Tell
us your favorite thing that's happened off screen.
Who's your favorite kid?
Meg, obviously, but like,
my shocked face.
It just I have quite a few moments that were just amazing for me to be there to experience. That when revealing, how Prince got her name, hit me good. When Trouble learned Elowin was Cash's mom, that fucking I was holding on to that too, because I remember specifically too where I was on my round at work when that hit me, and I think I called Zach, and I was like, "Hey man, so your mom, we never decided. Can she be an elf?" And he goes, "Sure, I don't see why not." I'm like, "Cool, wonderful. That's all I need."
So
No,
what
I
you're
was like,
saying is
okay,
that
whatever.
Cash is a half elf.
Yes.
Yeah. But the point where it was revealed what Jean did, and then what Jean really did. Both of those were just hit. Those were I've been again holding on to them for so long. Just to see you guys learn all that was perfect. But I think the one that really hit the most, like actually hit me, was Shiloh saying, "Who killed my boy?" Oh, because I don't know if y'all heard, I struggled to get that out.
Yeah.
I was hurting.
That was the parent in you, just like, oh,
Yeah. That got me real good, and it it hit harder than I ever thought it would. Like I knew I'm gonna struggle to get that sentence out, but then in mid sentence I heard myself catch, and I was like, "Fuck, keep it together." It's fine.
That's appropriate for the moment, though.
Shut up! No,
in that scenario, try to
no.
keep your shit straight. Like it's not gonna happen.
Let me make the joke. Can I make a really, really inappropriate, horrible, terrible, dark joke?
Bet.
Yep.
Do it.
Did it hit you harder than Pierce hit the ground?
Only slightly, but yes, he hit real hard. Considering he was dead.
That was another great parallel moment, because earlier in that session we had the it may not have been that situation. We had the moment with Kaylin where she had her memory of the trauma that she had, and she kept saying, "I couldn't stop him" as a kid, and I tucked that line in my head because when Shiloh showed up, or no, it wasn't Shiloh because it was later, but Laz said to Siobhan about when she mentioned Pierce, I couldn't stop him. Yeah.
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 All right.
But you did ask off screen the day I rolled to see whether or not Pierce died. I had test rolled it like 10 times. I'm like, no, this is just a test roll. No, this isn't the actual roll. I finally went, okay, this is it. I made the roll, and I sat there for probably a good 10-15 minutes. Just
was that a percentile?
Yeah.
So are you sure you read it right?
Yeah, he did, because we are correct. We're the two that are right.
If I rolled below 30%, and I rolled a 17.
All right, I have a follow-up esque question for this one.
Okay.
What is your lightning round? What is your favorite moment off the top of your head of somebody else's in this campaign, or any campaign that we as a crew have played together?
Okay, while I think about that, I also want to know what the hell night means by I can't wait until they find out who Endless is. Excuse you.
That is a great question.
So
off the top of my head, my favorite point would probably have been Shiloh charging at the ship. Just pushing that bitch back with raw power. Raw, pissed off power.
I really liked it when that annoying bird exploded.
That cackle, Jesus fuck.
Me too.
Amazing.
that was a laugh.
I had to. I'm sorry. That was totally in jest. I promise.
It was great.
Correct answer.
Inma slash Draven getting the kill on Strahd.
Oh God, yeah.
Whew, that was quality.
No, you melting that wall, and the moment you did that, me going, "Oh motherfucker!" Oh, they're cooked.
I was like, "Will he let me do? This? Will he let me do this?"
Oh, they're cooked.
Yeah. Mhm.
That was 100% a DM moment of going, "Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up closing those doors."
I fucked up. Oh, you're right. Fucked up. I fucked up. I fucked up. I think mine is Moon and Prince, and that doesn't entirely. I technically, because I was DMing it, it's I have like 5% there, but Moon and Prince across time and space.
No, just wish I could remember it.
We'll get there.
Sorry?
We're getting there.
I think mine is those little moments where Kaylin learns more about her dad.
Yeah.
Every moment Kaylin has a moment to reflect on her dad or learn something more about her dad is just fucking heartbreaking in a way that is so enjoyable. That being said, I also do love a good naked Draven.
And well,
Oh my God, I
who
forgot.
doesn't love that?
On the top of the hut. That's right. On the.
Yep. I did highly enjoy Genma's reaction to Draven waking up in blood and not knowing, oh fuck, did I kill somebody?
I just enjoy
100% Strahd was divination looking in just to watch, going, knowing full well he's the one that did that.
Another Genma moment.
That's right.
Was he naked? Was Strahd watching him ass up naked?
Another Genma moment was Sato telling us the story from his childhood training when we were on the boat.
Yeah.
As we were passing that site. Just fucking 2 minutes of I'm just going to sit here and listen to this man read the phone book. Like it was such a great story.
100%. Wait, let's just all agree all of Genma talking is just everybody's favorite part.
Yes.
I would say it's not really a character moment, but the first time Jimbo growled and all the and most of the food just like started
Meg
melting
just fucking
and chat started melting.
I had to leave.
I still have that TikTok.
I
believe I put on there
he's
the
here in
moment.
chat, and I know he can hear me, so I will let the whole fucking internet know I am so unabashedly attracted to this man. Like, period. And I feel like that's obvious, and that's fine. And he's wonderful.
So really, Jimma and Tiff should be fighting for Meg, apparently.
Yeah.
We can duke it out. Let's go.
Speaking of Kaylin learning stuff about her dad, one of my favorite DMing moments it's one of the very few that I spoiled for nobody, but was the moment in the second episode of the Parent Party flashback. After the fight, the door opens and the Starosta comes out. Or no, I'm sorry. No. He came out, but you didn't know who he was. And then the Starosta goes, Commander Karsus, and everybody was like, you
bitch.
Yeah.
Fun thing with that is no one has been able to learn how or why what happened with him to cause Kaylin to be born a tiefling, and B, why he was hunted down.
It's because we don't ask questions. We don't ask questions. I'm going to get a post-it note on my computer that says, ask questions.
Like, I kind of ask questions, but like after hearing her background and like why her tail's missing, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to touch that.
We're gonna set that over here in the corner.
I was given one of the greatest compliments, but so the Netherweave arc has been more collaboratively DM'd. Like me and Tiff have had conversations. Me and Meg have had conversations. Me and Em and Dustin and Zach and I think I've had conversations with everybody on the DM level in terms of the story.
Everybody.
Yeah. And so Come on, you can do this. Come on, you can do this. Oh, fuck, it was there. Now it's gone.
In there.
Yeah. It's all right. It'll come back.
Me constantly.
Hey, did you see that squirrel over there?
Yeah, it's over there.
Yeah, right over there.
Yeah. Good.
I don't know. My brain also died.
It was something to do with. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. M gave me the best compliment because I have a plot point coming up in the Netherweave arc where part of my overall idea for this is that it is more narrative. More of the stuff is built around team building, interaction, facilitating the dynamic of characters who have not interacting more, which was specifically why I didn't have Laz in the first session, knowing that Kaylin was going to go through some trauma. Because in a other circumstance, if Kaylin's going through trauma, I feel like the natural reaction is, hey, Laz, can you do your mind thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if Laz isn't there, the rest of the team has to deal with this in the ways that they can. I'm not going to say that. But I do have a plot point that is going to facilitate discussion of memories, and it's going to be backstory stuff where we all have come up with backstory memories and incidents that we know have happened with our characters that we haven't talked about because there hasn't really been a place it made sense. Yeah. And so this is designed for that. And M goes, "Oh, you're going to pull a Meg moment," and I was like, "You better stop complimenting me that hard."
Oh,
yeah.
What the fuck do you mean compliment? That's very sweet of you. But I definitely, for context of that statement, I was playing a game with M and Cap and a couple of our other friends, and they wouldn't talk to each other. They would not fucking talk to each other. And yet...
Wait, you have other friends?
I know, right? Crazy.
I feel so excluded.
There's literally only two others.
Are the other friends in the room with us?
Don't be too impressed. There's only two.
There's only two, and one of them's married to M. So, at any rate, like, they wouldn't talk to each other, but talking to the players, all the players are like, well, I want our group to be more connected, but we just haven't felt like we've had a moment to talk about things, but we need to talk about things. And I had given them a lot of opportunities in like different travel days, at like different taverns, in different places to be like, here's your opportunity to talk. And they wouldn't fucking take it. So finally I went, I'm taking shit into my own hands. And we had this moment coming up where they were going to like be interacting with some like lower deity style things, like higher level things, lower deities. And so I went, fuck it. I'm going to make you see one thing that may or may not be real, but is heavily connected to what your character knows and believes. And I'm going to make you watch it with at least one other person. Then from there, you can do whatever you want. You can talk about it. You can not talk about it. We can pretend that never happened. But somebody is going to know something, just a little bit of something about you. And it's not, I didn't do anything that was like information the characters themselves didn't, or were like super hard, no one knows this, but they were like, I showed information about people in their lives that they didn't necessarily have information about, but had strong feelings about. So that I wasn't like giving away secrets they wanted to hold on to, but I was opening the door for deeper conversation. And I definitely just forced him into like they made the choice to go into the fucking boat.
So you all got into this town and you're all arrested. So you're sitting in a cell for the next 48 hours alone by yourselves with nothing else to do except talk to each other.
And that's 48 hours of game time. Game time, not in-world time. Game time.
Both.
That's 16 sessions. Yeah.
It's 1 for 1. Let's go.
And honestly, I feel like I might need a little bit of that because Jim has noted, a lot of people, we haven't had a lot of conversation with Sato. It's like, I find it kind of difficult because Sato's a very stern character and Cash is a kind of stern character. We're not big characters.
Big talker characters.
You're the biggest.
The one thing I do like about that is when Cash does say something, I tend to have a very decent impact to the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Sato,
just like, hey, especially with that fucking that one inflict wounds where I uppercut somebody. That was fucking fantastic. But
Usually
usually
every
it's
time
like,
you
you know,
inflict wounds, it's like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Oh, dude, you have crit
Yeah.
on it 3 fucking times.
Hell yeah.
oh,
Cash
it feels good
has.
every time.
Tiff rolled one of them. No, one of my favorite lines was when Cash said, "I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I spy with my little eye and eye." Oh, so
That
good.
was so off the cuff. That was so off the cuff too, just because
You know
of
what we haven't mentioned that I
Troll-
also
Troll
really
playing
love
I Spy.
doing?
Huh?
The fucking trouble rants.
Oh,
Bruh.
Troll's plans are
Bruh.
absolute gold.
Well, you know, I thought that was like a
Oh.
default, so I wasn't gonna call it out because, like, of course, like,
Yeah.
I wish you did it more.
Literally everybody loves it.
So you know what I imagine happened as everybody gets pulled into the Netherweave. It's my ex dealing with Trouble, Mazikeen, 4 satyrs, and I think Abigail might have been there. But there's that Trouble looks around the glade, turns around to the ex, and goes, "What did you do with my brother?" And launches and is currently still in the middle of a Trouble rant at this woman. Just started.
Like-
Do you know what we have been through?
The dominated
blown
person
up.
has
I
gone
literally
away
wanted-
too, and she's
I
just
literally
like,
wanted
I'm
Cap
not
to,
like
like-
engrossed in the story now. What is
I
That's
happening?
what's
literally
gonna- we're
wanted
gonna-
Cap to ask you to, like, do a snippet, a little trouble rant of some part of our story, like
I will
this
have you know.
first at the beginning of each Netherweave section.
Oh, it's
Like, it's not even necessarily congruent. Like, there's clearly gaps in time.
better.
Let it be known they are not gone. They are waiting for their moment.
Fair. Totally fair.
Well, I also find it so funny how they started, and I know you guys know this, but I'm gonna say it for posterity. My whole goal was that someone was gonna cut me off.
And nobody did.
I
No.
was like, I'm
We
going
just
to
let
keep
you go.
speaking because the whole point of like, I believe it started with a truth spell, and that someone had cast like a truth spell or something like that on me. It was something like that.
Zone of
And-
Truth, I think.
I think it was, yeah. And then the question was asked, and I failed my I'd failed my save. And the actuality is you can choose to remain silent.
Yep.
If you speak, it must be the truth.
Hmm.
And this is a character who has been forced to remain ununderstood. Maybe not necessarily silent, but non-understood their whole life. So silence isn't their default because they're too excited for the sound of their own voice. Because they finally have one.
No, it's fair.
Unlike me, who's fucking sick of theirs because they use it so much. But the point was, how little can I say while still being truthful and being excited to hear the sound of my voice? Which means you want to know what happened right now. I'm going to tell you the story from the start with so many details that don't fucking matter. And I just started speaking, and I remember getting about halfway through and going, someone should have stopped me by now.
And I believe we were all just sitting here going,
Yeah.
And I'm
This is me and him.
It was like a flashbang went off. We were just all blinded by the radiance of what the fuck is happening right now.
I was like, this is not, I shouldn't still be talking.
I mean,
get
Prince
feelings
wasn't
now.
going to stop you. This was the most you've ever said in your life. So,
Yeah.
And Cash was gonna interrupt you because at that point he might have got stabbed.
You were yelling at his dad. You were going off on Jean. So Cash was
So
like,
also Cash
it
and I
was
agreed-
Jean, yeah.
agreed.
was it Jean or was it Bells?
I feel like it's the next one.
no, she
I
went
think
off
it was
on
Jean.
stuff later.
it was in the 7th episode.
Yeah, it was
How do you-
super early.
So it would have been
What
John.
might have been John.
No, yeah. It was Jean because the last line you said it didn't work out very well because I wasn't very good at it, and then we started traveling again. I don't know why, escorting this woman to this prisoner somewhere else, and now we're talking to you, a person I don't know, and it's got Jean linked there as the person I don't know. So you were talking to Jean.
Yep.
That's so much funnier in hindsight.
Yeah.
But the honest answer is that like I truly was like, there's about halfway through and I watched it again and you can see it in my eyes, that moment of like, I should not still be talking.
Tenny just did a comment. Oh, gonna spark a rewatch. Should we do an episode like this of us watching
Clips?
early episodes?
So,
Or
like a
man.
director's commentary?
Oh,
watch
kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do like full episodes, but I think we could do like this with like
clips.
clips.
If we could do like a montage of moments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a
I'm
lot
here
of
for it.
stuff.
The moment that came to mind, Cap, you already mentioned it, and it came to mind when
I love you.
it came to mind when Zach, you mentioned how both Cash and Sato, like when you guys talk, it has a big impact. I think that's why it impacted so hard. It impacted so hard when Sato was telling that story. Yeah. It was the most we've heard him talk.
Yep.
In one sitting.
He talked for 2 straight minutes, not another sound, because I clipped it and it took 2 clips. It was like a minute 58.
Jordan, I'm sure me and Knight could work on a super cut of Mountain Mystery. Honestly, I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
I'm down.
I'm here for it. Yep.
I'm kind of down for
You
that.
know it will come.
Well, no, Gemma, you just said, Gemma just said, I'll try to do more. I think it's because you don't do it so often is why it was so impactful.
But also feel free to do whatever you want.
Meg just wants to hear you more, which fair.
Yeah.
So does the entirety of the chat and
Nimue
the
wants
show.
to hear you growl more.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, and part of the nether we've also, in terms of DMing it, is thinking about like what stuff can I put there for Cash, what stuff can I put there for Sato, to give them character moments and like.
Yeah, I have, I think, suggested just like to my husband in conversation, like, try to find time where you can talk, say something to us and interject. And I think one of the times he was like, it's really hard to get a word in sometimes.
It is sometimes.
We are a chatty bunch. I get it. Yeah.
Between the
Jim,
four,
I wasn't telling you to show. I'm just saying
Jim,
that one was impactful because you don't do it so often. I want you to do it more. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Between everybody that's not myself or Jen, sometimes it does get a bit.
Oh shit! Everybody be good. My dad's in the chat.
Oh no.
It is a bit hard to get a word in sometimes.
I think we need to have a scene where it's just Sato and Cash for some reason. It's just like everybody back out and just let them
we just throw it at each other and move on.
I can 100%.
I'll have a situation.
All that scene is going to be them both going.
No, I know exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have a dungeon situation where there's going to be a door. You can't duck. And the door is too short for anybody else to get in. So for Sato or Cash to get in. So everybody else gets in, and everybody in that room gets struck with a silent spell for the next 3 hours. So the only 2 people who are capable of talking is Cash and Sato.
And then Sato and Cash will side each other and back away from the door frame.
Not doing it.
I'm honestly proud of the line that I gave to Sato in the last session where he said where the guy hired you to grave rob, and Will jumped at it and everybody else was like, I guess, and Sato was like, I'm going to say no on principle, but I'm going to keep you all safe if you pursue this fool's errand.
God.
That was fun.
We did have another question, but I just realized it's 5 minutes to 11. My goodness.
Speed question, go.
Speed question.
Out of this campaign, who is your favorite
42.
character that isn't yours? That's a really hard question to answer. It's like, okay, so who's your favorite character out of this campaign that isn't yours?
Out of character, in character, Trouble.
Probably Prince.
Oh, and Dark Crescent Studios says, "Are y'all still wanting me to run that Disney mini campaign?" Fuck yeah, girl,
Yes.
we are ready. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you, Dustin. That was very sweet. Prince was just a joke character that now I care about too deeply.
That's what happens.
Trouble in character
And Trouble.
Vive. I am
I mean, I guess
very
it's technically
biased
now,
with
but-
Vive.
Well, they said from this
Yeah.
campaign though.
Yeah, Sato.
Out of this campaign.
Oh, out? Oh shit!
I think
Draven.
it means out.
Oh yeah, I read that. Don't get me wrong.
Characters in this campaign.
I think it means out of the characters in this campaign. I think they could have worded that better.
I read that wrong.
Oh,
Caleb.
From the camp.
yeah, that's how I'm interpreting that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
but-
Trouble just because out of character, like especially like us talking about the Trouble rants, like oh my god, right?
Right.
And in character, like I mentioned earlier, just I've never had. I've had like the drama interactions with other characters before, but like I don't know. It's been very emotionally dense and confusing with Trouble with the whole like her being mad at Cash, like she mentioned earlier, being mad at Cash, and then like, well, Cash didn't do shit, so how do I handle this?
Yeah,
It's been very interesting.
I
And I've
think
enjoyed it.
I like the enigma that is Sato, just because he is. Jinma knows his character very well, and we still don't know that character very well. And I think
Yeah.
that's interesting how 50 episodes in, he's still a mystery, but
He is a mountain of mystery.
you're not wrong. That's a mountain
Yeah,
that
that's the thing. We solved it. The mystery of the mountain is the mountain of mystery that is Sato. Done.
that's fair. I will also give props to Dustin that Endless is like still a question mark in my head of
I do love
like,
Endless.
what is happening with him. Who is he, as Knight said, and also the little tidbit of he's been following people longer than we think. I want to know about that, but it's going to have to wait. Also, Jinma says for the Disney campaign, he will play Kronk, and holy shit, now we need this to happen.
No, but you guys won't be playing Disney characters, so I suggested Kronk's brother then.
We won't
Does he
be
have a
playing,
brother? He does now.
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be playing Disney characters. What?
No,
We're not be playing as Disney characters. No.
Preston says she has ideas.
Okay.
She has ideas.
I.
What about you, Cap? Your favorite character?
Pierce,
Sorry. Pierce?
No.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
murdered him. So I will tell you, we threw around this idea of doing videos in character for TikTok. I think Tiff came up with the idea. And so what I'm going to do, and it's set specifically after the team just got to Zadash, right after, it's the night that Trouble found out about Elowin. So we're at the bar, everybody's pretty drunk. And so I'm going to do this thing where it's Laz basically being like, yeah, my name's Lazarus Oldman, and he gives his a little bit of his resume and whatnot. And then it cuts to me in another chair going, don't believe this imposter. I'm Lazarus Oldman, and gives the same thing. And then it cuts back to me, and I'm like, Pierce, you know I hate when you do that. And he's like, I know you hate when I do this. That's why I do this.
Fair.
Wonderful. And Meg?
Wrap this up.
I think my favorite player character right now has got to be Kaylin. Like above the table. I think right now it's Kaylin. I really like the way M has been kind of playing with. She really likes to do these kind of like solitary, broody characters who find a friend and then like become like more social to a degree and like have all this. But there's something about like Kaylin's story and like Kaylin's loyalty that I find really interesting because she's like super loyal and cares so much for reasons that fucking baffle me. And I think that that's fascinating. that someone who can have been so isolated in her own right, like not like truly like trouble isolated, but like emotionally isolated, with like her, and like her circle is tiny emotionally speaking, but for her to be so fiercely loyal is so interesting to me. And then as Trouble, I think the most Trouble's best friend is Prince, period, end story. But I think the most fascinating person to her right now is Cash, because she's got like this really weird like developmental relationship with him, where like she wanted to fucking kill him because she was so jealous, but she didn't want to kill him because that would hurt Elowen, and like even though she's mad, she's not like, it was like a whole interior like, I'm like the teenager, I'm mad at you, but I don't want to forever hurt you, but I want to hurt you for right now kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Which she never really got to experience growing up. So the fun thing about Trouble is she's like, she is developmentally like in her early 20s and emotionally in her early teens. And but now because she's been the one,
she's mad, not homicidal mad.
Yeah, for real.
Well worded, Jordan.
Well worded. But the thing with Cash that I find so fun and so interesting is that because she was the one that was left, because she has had to deal with all of this, she views herself as like the stronger one. And so because they chose to save Cash, she now views him as the one that needs to be protected. So
Which
her
is the
goal is
opposite how he feels.
I know, and that's why I like that relationship so much.
Yeah.
Is because we're both trying to do the same thing, because we both feel like we have to be the person who does it. And it's like, no, if y'all would talk and like figure it out, you'd be fine. But they refuse.
And
that was kind of what I was trying to say earlier. It's like I really enjoy the layers, like why I like Trouble so much. There's just layers and complexity, but there's also like a childlike simplicity to it at the same time. It's this really mixed bag that I've just not really experienced with another character. And I've been playing for like 20 years, so that's saying something.
Yeah. From the perspective of like Elowen and Jean too. Jean, he had no idea who Trouble was. He just.
This person's just yelling at me with their life story. What the fuck?
Yeah. Elowen, for her, she was running from the cult and just, in my mind, she ended up at your guys' place. And she never meant to be there, stay there, anything. It just happened. She wanted to get back home, but it didn't happen. And then the cult found them, and then da-da-da.
Well, I will say Aja is still mad at Elowen.
Yeah.
She has it with Cash mostly.
Yeah.
But
she has every right to be angry.
Resolve her shit with Elowen.
Elowen and John. Both of them.
She gives no fucks for John.
They made decisions
exist.
that to them made sense at the time. And they were terrible decisions. Jean, Elowen, for Elowen's point of view with that, she knows she fucked up. She acknowledges that, and she wants to find a way to fix it. Jean knows he fucks up, but still has in his mind that, like, I didn't have another choice at the time. So,
yeah.
And he's not a bad guy. He just makes dumb decisions sometimes. And
that excuse only gets you so far.
Yeah, exactly. And
of the main cast, I think Prince is my favorite at the moment because of how much what's going on is tied to her and like how interesting building around that is in what's happening right now. And when Tiff messaged me after the last game and was like Prince is in a bad place. Prince is like a flight risk because of what you said. And I was like, Laz me as a player and Laz as a character were legitimately trying to like do this thing in this moment of saying this thing of like being positive, and both of us fucked it up. He fucked it up because I fucked it up. But then I'm like,
I love that
damn
because it really mirrors everything that happened with the previous party. They
and it's
had
fully true.
the best intentions. They just fucked it up.
Yeah. It's the difference between intention and impact. My intention was this, but the impact was not this.
Yeah.
To play with.
It is.
It's so fun to play with that.
Yeah.
And I think the only one that really didn't fuck up as bad as everyone is Siobhan. Siobhan's no, not Siobhan. Siobhan. She's just like, you all stress me the fuck out, all of you.
She's the mom of that group.
Well, like, there's a reason why Aja is so fucking pissed at Elwyn, of everybody. Elwyn. Because Elwyn didn't have much of anything to do with the actual incidents. But it is her follow-through that has caused infinitely more damage in Aja's life than anything the parent party did. And the parent party was facing down like a galactic ending threat, and they did their best.
And I've hinted towards it, but like, fighting that entity doesn't physically hurt you. It fucks you up though. And that really skewed a lot of what they did.
Yeah. And I think
a lot of what they did was just simply out of pure fear. And you don't make the best decisions when you're that afraid.
And Aja, Aja's really actually quite sympathetic to them, having, like, for everything she's going through. She actually emotionally is quite sympathetic to them because she is dealing with it.
Yeah. And I have enjoyed watching Aja, like, slowly go from fuck all these people to, like, fuck you guys, but, like, I get it. I love seeing that transformation, and I think it'll always be fuck you guys.
Oh, there's not a world.
It's always gonna be fuck you guys, but it's just gonna be varying levels of like
different intonations. It'll be like fuck you guys down to like fuck you guys.
On that
positive,
always going to be fuck you. We ought to wrap up, or else.
Oh yeah, wrap up.
Our moderator
forever.
Throw a fit. But we have some wrap up. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for sending in your awesome questions. Tune in tomorrow for Meg's birthday one shot. We're gonna have a awesome level 14 one shot that who we're gonna have. I can't remember. I will be DMing, and we will have Zach, we will have Jinma.
I'll be getting divorced.
It really is my birthday.
It was Zach, Jinma, Meg, and fuck me if I can remember who. Jordan's gonna play. My God, Knight. Jordan, you're welcome. Nice. You're available, but Knight will be our mod and a player. But tune in tomorrow for a really epic high level one shot. And all of
Tiff's getting her wish. She wants me more. It's gonna be a magic monkey's paw. She wants me to be a more chatty character. She's getting it, but it's like her second least favorite character I've ever had.
Oh God, you're all
right. You're gonna have so much fun.
Just try and fucking stop me.
The Roll for Cake campaign was sponsored by Misty Mountain Gaming. You can use code CAKE for 15% off at mistymountaingaming.com. And we also have a code from Dark Crescent Studios. Let's see, I'm trying to find it in chat if we could get that into.
I think it was Cake as well.
Yes. Cake for 15%.
It needs to be Dick Glitter now.
Studios.
Dick Glitter. Gotta change it, Crescent.
Yeah, we gotta get that
Dick Glitter.
Dick Glitter, all caps.
If you go to my Etsy store, you can also use code Roll for Cake, all one word, for 20% off any order. And Roll for Cake was also sponsored by Narrative Universe.
Or second Narrative Universe, yep. Text-based TTRPG system run by one awesome motherfucker who has a lot of friends
And you can come to the chat tomorrow, to the game tomorrow. Enter the chat, type in Team Meg all in caps, and it will speed up the divorce proceedings so that
There's a
Team Meg,
GoFundMe for the attorney fees.
I'll speed up plenty tomorrow.
All hail the Nut RPG.
So the next Norse 4 is coming up in October.
October 10th through the 13th.
Is that discount code still work? I think it was Cake Batter.
I would have to check. I don't remember.
Well, there is a Norse 4. There might be a discount code. There might not, but there is Norse 4.
There is a
discount code that is current right now. It is summoning based on Norse's last video.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I will be
That's
there.
a great fucking video too.
Like Dark
That was a good one.
will also be there as a seller. So come see us.
And
So
you still won't know what I look like because I won't be there.
He's the invisible man.
Bitch.
Hoping to be able to drag Dustin down, but we shall see.
If I come, I'll be driving through Illinois and I'll kidnap Meg.
Okay, sounds good.
Go.
I got a hotel for you guys.
I have so to do.
She's got a. Tiff has a hotel room for you to keep your kidnap victim in.
Oh wait, no, wait, we're good.
I was gonna say I missed the part where I was asking permission.
A ransom note to my university so that I don't get kicked out or lose my scholarship.
We will definitely try.
They can't kick you out
And
for being
also, of
kidnapped.
course, we have our Patreon. If you guys have hung out with us all night, the 21 of you that are still here, you might
Why is there
consider
so
joining our
many?
Patreon.
Why do you like us?
Have you seen you?
You are
Come
crazy
on.
enough to still be here. So if you like us that much, maybe join our Patreon, and we'll be able to do more things with that money. Bring in more people, do more one shots. Who knows what the future holds for us? But I'm gonna stop
also
there,
good to
or else
donate to Sophie Caldwell's GoFundMe to help with her medical expenses. She is doing good though. She is now eating from the bottle.
oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah.
All right, yo,
Love you.
we have been Crips and Cryptids on Behind the Screen. Thank you for being with us. We love you, and may all your rolls be crits. Good night, everybody.